Hey everyone, welcome to Storytime with Spidey. It's me, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and I've been away for a while, I know, but what can I say? I've been kind of busy. I did come down with a little something. Don't worry, I'm not sick. The thing I came down with is known as Hamilton fever. I fell in love with that play. It is so awesome and amazing, and if you're able, you should watch it. It's kind of like what I do. Really, it's teaching you things in a fun and interesting way. But enough about that. Let's get back to the 5-minute Marvel stories. The stories about me and all my cool superhero friends and the adventures that we get into. Now, where we left off, we were talking about how another person became a spider guy like me. And that guy is Miles Morales. You remember he came up with a costume kind of like mine, except that it's more black than red, and I had to help him out with the web shooters because he didn't know how to do that. So, where we left off, okay. It wasn't until the action was over that Miles realized just how much danger he was really in. He climbed to the top of a building and wanted to fade away, which is exactly what he did. Yeah, he basically turned invisible, which is something I can't do. This was a brand new power, one that Peter didn't have. He camouflaged himself into his surroundings. Peter Parker swung up to where Miles had been. "Miles, is that you?" Peter called out. "I recognize your voice. Believe it or not, I know what you're thinking. I went through the same thing when I first got my powers." Miles was stunned. "You did?" "Sure I did," Peter said. "My Uncle Ben used to tell me," I'm sure you've all heard me say this, "that with great power must also come great responsibility." Peter tossed Miles something from his costume. "Here, you can have these extra web shooters for now," said Peter. "Whoa, cool!" That was Miles' reaction. "Whoa, cool," Miles said while testing out the web shooters. Miles looked up to Peter, figuring out what he should do. "Maybe I can follow you around for a few days, see how it goes." Yeah. Kind of like having an apprentice, basically. An apprentice is somebody that you are teaching your job to by having them watch you do it and work beside you. Oh, fun fact about the web shooters, the way that the trigger is designed, you have to double tap it in order for something to come out. That's why it doesn't accidentally go off when I make a fist or grab something. "I think that's a good idea, but you can't go around calling yourself Spider-Man, Miles. That name's taken." "Oh, I'm definitely Spider-Man," Miles said, smiling again. The two swung off together to patrol the friendly neighborhood. The Scarlet Spider didn't call himself Spider-Man because he didn't want to get people confused. It wasn't long before Peter got them into quite a pickle, surrounded by some of the nastiest villains in New York. And that's when Miles knew. You see here, these are some of the people who don't really like me very much. You see, we got Sandman, we got Green Goblin, Venom, Rhino, and Doc Ock. Now, who invited them? Okay. And that's when Miles knew he was born for this. See, he got right into it and knew what to do, which was cool. A lot of things I kind of had to figure out as I went along, and I didn't have anyone to really guide me. So it's great that Miles had, well, me. The battle roared while Peter kept poking fun at the rampaging villains. Miles was terrified. "How can you keep joking in the middle of a fight?" he asked Peter. "Aren't you scared?" That's when the rhino grabbed Peter by the neck. Peter couldn't let out another word, funny or otherwise. Miles turned and let loose his newest and last power, another power that Peter didn't have at all. Miles would later call it his Venom Strike, not to be confused with the guy in the black suit, and put Rhino down for the count. Peter was safe. Basically, it's like a shocking touch that Miles can do, which I can't. It'd be nice if I could, but some of his powers just came out different from me, which is kind of strange when you consider that he got them the same way I did. Miles and Peter wrapped the baddies up in maybe a little more than the usual amount of sticky stuff. We wanted to make sure they weren't going anywhere. Peter said, "Come on, if you're not going to change your name, you've got to learn how to crack jokes. It's part of the job. Give it a try." Miles scratched his head, thinking while looking down at the webbed up villains. Then he said, "Looks like you got yourselves into a sticky situation, evildoers." Peter sighed. "Wow, somebody called the doctor. You have no funny bone." And this is when we had our little chat at the end of the fight. Now, the reason why I joke during fights, it's not because I'm not scared. I am. Especially when I'm up against somebody stronger than me, or with weapons that I can't defend against, or powers that I can't easily handle. But I don't want them to know that. If they know I'm scared, they already have the upper hand, and I don't want to ever give them that. So I crack the jokes as a way of covering that up. It also kind of keeps them off balance. Sometimes they get so frustrated at what I say that they act without thinking, which gives me a chance to get one over on them. And that's all the time that we was doing before this last little lapse. And until next time, oh, and please remember, wear your mask. It's the right thing to do. Until next time, Excelsior!
Just like guys, look out! Here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen up. He's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Welcome fame, he's ignored.